Once Bitten, here the battle report. So this is game 3 of Brawler Bash 2015. My Empire, what I call my Stiletto Council, my Council of Steel and Light, versus a Vampire Count's army. Let's see, the scenario in this one is there's a what's supposed to be a leprechaun model in the middle of the table. That's actually a model I provided. It was given to me by a fan of the channel. It is an old school Empire Ogre model, which I think is very cool. Anyway, that thing, for at the end of every not player turn, at the end of every round, every unit within 6 inches has final transmutation cast on it. But as long as you have at least one unit within 6 inches, you get 100 extra victory points. So multiply that times 6, and that can add up. And beyond that, I just don't remember, and as you'll see pretty soon, it just didn't matter. So let's say on the far right, he's got a unit of Hex Wraiths, unit of Direwolves, a couple Bats, 40 Ghouls, and he's got a unit of 69 Skeletons with a bunch of characters. I'll go over them in just a minute. Look at the middle of that skeleton unit, though. That unit filler, the Bone Giant, just looks awesome. Another unit of Direwolves. If we look at the characters, he's got... now this is weird. I'm pulling his list off of the official list that he submitted, but I think he changed it between now and then just a little bit. So he has a Vampire Lord, level 4 Shadow, and during the game he played level 4 Death, which actually makes more sense to me, so I'm assuming that was just a mistake. Anyway, he's got Talisman Preservation, Red Fury, Sword of Striking, so he's pretty killy. But then he has the Aura of Dark Majesty. All enemy units within 6 inches are -1 leadership. Combine that with Lore of Death, with Doom and Darkness, and you have a VC... really have a version of a VC leadership bomb army, because after he has a Lich High Priest, Vlad von Karstein, a white BSB with the Night Shroud, a Tomb Prince, he's got 4 Tomb Banshees. This list is scaring me. He's got another unit of 40 zombies, some more Hex Wraiths, and some more Dire Wolves. I know I'm in trouble. I am in serious trouble. I don't know what to do against this list. I've got Lore of Light, which, as long as I roll decently, I'm choosing spells, making sure I get a lot of Shem's Burning Gaze. Of course, I have Banishment, but I need big magic phases so I can throw some dice to get rid of these Hex Wraiths, and I don't know what I'm going to do about those Tomb Banshees, who are just holed up together in a huge unit of skeletons. So on the far left, I got a unit of 5 Demigryphs in the woods, 5 Demigryphs. I've got my Night Bus with, looks like my level 4s in there. I've got 2 units of Knights. The one that's in a conga line, my thinking there was just to walk them up to get within 6 inches of the Leprechaun model, and I was going to do that with the other 5-man unit Knights too, and then I just didn't feel like it, so I just put them the way they are. Obviously, a Stank, I got my 3 level 1s all together, because my opponent doesn't really have any magic missiles. Another unit of Demis, another Steam Tank. And I think that's Vanguard. Ugh, this is just awful. So Empire wins the turn to go first. One mistake that doesn't really matter, but one mistake I made is I thought you got 100 victory points for every unit within 6 inches of the Leprechaun, so I put both of my small Knight units within 6, and then I found out that you get 100 no matter if you have 1 or a million, so... I'll get an extra final trans cast on one of those units. Let's see, Steam Tank that you see in this picture. Oh wait, never mind. Yeah, so my opponent built his list. We talked about this a little bit. Basically, such that cannons don't affect it. There's nothing to hit with cannons that matters. Magic does. I rolled really low magic phase. I wasn't able to get a spell off. I might have burned through a scroll. We go to VC turn 1. I know on the very, very left, his Hex Wraiths tried to charge my Demigryphs. He failed it. Otherwise, everything is as you can see. And then at the end of his turn, Final Trans goes off. And of course, instead of losing 1/3 of the Knights in both those Knight units, I lose 40% in one and 60% of the other. Yeah, awesome. Fan-freaking-tastic. But it doesn't matter. Wait, I'm going back up. Yeah, Demis charge these guys. Again, I don't really know what to do with my Demigryphs, but by charging these, I get out of line of sight of his Hex Wraiths, and that's pretty cool. I figure I can blow through these units, turn, and a Demigryph charge into the flank of any of his big units, which should take care of him fairly quickly. Over here, I brought my level 4 at, so I don't know if it was a boosted Shems and or Comet, or not Comet, Banishment. Either way, one unit of Hex Wraiths is completely off the table. If you look at the Steam Tank, I actually pulled him away. He's facing the edge of the table because there's nothing to shoot at, and I just wanted him away from all the screams that are coming at me. So after killing the dogs, we overran and hit the flank of his bats, so they'll be easily taken care of. We go to VC turn 2. And this is where my opponent having a plan and me not appreciating what the strategy of his army is really hurt me. Of course, I think it was a moot point anyway, but he doesn't charge me with anything because he doesn't need to get in charge in combat anytime soon. He moves direwolves up in front of my demigryphs just to block them up, and then he just moves everything like you can see. And then during the magic phase, he Van Hels his zombies up and has at this point I think 3 of the Tomb Banshees in with them. And I think I just let that go. He has it as a bound item, and I just wasn't really that worried about it. Yeah, so then we go to the shooting phase, and during the magic phase, he got Doom and Darkness off. He got Irresistible Force. It didn't do him any harm. And then he 3 screams from Tomb Banshees, maybe even 4. I don't know if the 4th one is in range. He's in with all the vampires. And it took my Night Bus down to almost nothing. And this is when I realized, I think I realized it just before this point, but I realized I don't know what to do here. I don't know how to get any points off of this list at all. And over here, because of my turn, I backed my demigryphs up just a little bit, but I should have backed him up as far as I could. He got the charge in with his Hex Wraiths, and in the long term, he's going to win that because there's just nothing I can do to these guys. During the magic phase, he grew a bunch of zombies and put them right next to that leprechaun, so he gets an automatic 100 points a turn for the rest of the game. And what does he care if these guys get final trans cast on him? I'm sorry. You know what? He does that eventually. Actually, I'm going back up. That's his original unit of zombies. I'm showing here that I beat the bats and just reformed, and then he gets final trans cast on this zombie unit, and a bunch die. He doesn't care. He's getting 100 extra points, and he can always just grow more models or grow a new unit. So go to Empire turn 3. Yeah, I don't know if you can even see in this picture. Yeah, so my demis in the woods charge the hounds. You might notice that I don't have any of my Night Bus there because they charged the Tomb Banshee unit. My thinking was the only magic sword in my army is on my BSB. I can charge in there and let the BSB try to start killing some Tomb Banshees. And it's not a high likelihood of doing anything, but it's the only chance at all I have of surviving, much less trying to get any points. So we charge. I fail an insane number of dangerous terrain tests, have to take a panic test on -4 leadership, because I think by that point I was -3 leadership, whatever it was, and I fail it and just run right off the table. Yeah, that was BSB. I think just one level 1, all of my knights. Then I go to the magic phase, and I cast something Irresistible Force with my level 4, and then he gets sucked into the void. Yeah, at this point, there's just no chance of doing anything. So my demis on the right-hand side easily kill the dogs, overrun into the Hex Race. It just doesn't matter. On the left, my demis are hanging around, but in the long run, that's not going to matter. VC turn 3. I'm really surprised that he's not doing anything with his big skeleton bus with all his characters. But what he doesn't want to do is put them within 6 inches of the leprechauns. So he's sitting there, which means that my demigryphs can get a juicy flank charge. I mean, a juicy flank charge into that unit. So I'm thinking, well, at least there's that. I don't know how long it's going to take me to grind down that unit, but demis are still pretty good. Except against Tomb Banshees, who just scream him to death in the shooting phase. We never even get to combat over there. And over here, he won combat by won and beat the other unit of demis. And we go to Empire turn 4. So the game is wrecked. My tournament's wrecked by this point. But at least my demis can charge into the flank and kill just a bunch of skeletons. Except they don't. They charge in there. Skeletons are weapon skill 5. I'm -3 leadership. So anyway, we go to combat, and I fluff all my hits. The only wounds I do at all are the 3 stomps that I get at the end. After his vampires made way and killed some demis, I lose combat and break, and my opponent doesn't even bother to chase me down. Because why would he need to? All he has to do is reform, move his banshees over, and just scream at that unit. I can't get away from him. Meanwhile, a Tomb Banshee charged my knights, or I charged it. Either way, it took a wound, but doesn't matter because it's not dead. I'm just going to scream me dead in its next turn. He can always regrow the wound. Go to VC turn 4. Again, he doesn't worry about my demigryphs. He just moves his zombies with his Tomb Banshees up so they can scream at my steam tank. They scream at my steam tank. Then we go at the end of his turn and cast the final transmutation spell. And if you look at the very top, those 2 knights remaining, yeah, they both rolled a 5 or 6 and died. Empire turn 5, my demigryphs want nothing to do with it. They do not rally. I don't think. It's possible they rallied and I left in that position, but I don't think they rallied. Everybody's just sitting there. There's nothing for me to do at this point. I'm just hoping the game just ends as quickly as possible. Vampires, it looks like that. He screams and kills my guys. And my demis are gone. So that's why I was saying they might have continued to run and just ran off the board. Or possibly somehow they got killed. I don't know. It was just awful. And that's the game. So opponent's a real good guy. The whole time he's apologizing because he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. But I'm like, this wasn't bad luck. This was just paper, scissors, rock. And I didn't have any tools to deal with his army. Even my shems and my banishments, what am I going to do? I mean, the best I could have done was get rid of his 2 Hexwraith units. But those Banshees and those big units, I can't kill them. Magic's not going to kill them. Combat's not going to kill them. And all they have to do is scream. And with 4 things screaming, especially with any kind of leadership modification, and I'm done, no matter what. I mean, it's just dead. So the interesting thing is I looked at my opponent's list. I'm like, how are you losing any games this tournament? I don't know what his total tournament turned out to be, but I know that his game 1 was a huge win because when I was on table 3, he was like on table 2. Game 2 must have been a huge loss because he played me. Game 3 had a huge win. And then after that, I know he had at least one more major loss. So he had a list that was either just crushing opponents or getting crushed by opponents. And I think that's actually kind of similar to my list. It's really skewed. And so when you see it against a good matchup, you're like, wow, how can that list lose? It's a great matchup. But then because it's not a balanced list, it can go up against stuff and just get wrecked. So, yeah, it wasn't a fun game for me, but it's not my opponent's fault. It was just a very, very, very bad matchup. But it also really made me want to go back to my former, if not normal, habit of just bringing 1, a balanced list, and 2, more of a Batman list that no matter what kind of army I face, I have the tools to deal with it. Because I did not like playing any game when I didn't have the necessary tools. So anyway, that's it. Everyone, Once Bitten here. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. As you know, YouTube has several functions you can use to interact with videos such as this. You can like the video, you can leave a comment, you can favorite the video. I want you to know that I appreciate it when you do things like that. It feels much more interactive than simply me talking to a screen. So if you're willing to do so, please like, comment, and favorite the videos. Subscribe to the channel if you want, and you certainly are welcome to share this video on your blog or other websites if you are so inclined. Again, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.